ex-husband showed up to our daughter's wedding with his new wife and moved me to a table by the kitchen. I ate alone for 2 hours. Then my daughter stopped the band mid-song, took a microphone, and said my name. She said it the way she used to say it when she was small. Not Mom, my actual name, Diane. The band stopped on the second beat of a song I'd been trying not to cry to anyway. Something slow and familiar that had been playing when she and Marcus took the floor for their first dance as husband and wife. The guests turned, all 140 of them, faces swiveling toward the small stage near the garden doors, toward my daughter in her dress, ivory with tiny buttons down the back that I had fastened myself that morning in the bridal suite, one by one, my fingers shaking a little because I'd been practicing not to cry since 6 a.m. She was holding the microphone with both hands. Her veil was still on. Her mascara was perfect. She looked across the room directly at me. I was sitting at table 11, round table near the swing door that led to the catering kitchen. Every time a server came through, the door exhaled a warm gust of garlic and roasted meat. My water glass had been refilled 4 times. I had eaten my salmon. I had watched the centerpiece flicker. I had done what I always did when Robert made a decision I couldn't change. I absorbed it and stayed quiet. Robert and I were married for 19 years. I want to say that plainly, without drama, because the number itself is the point. 19 years. We met when I was 24 and he was 27 at a work conference in Cincinnati that neither of us had wanted to attend. He was funny in the way that quiet men sometimes are, dry and unexpected, and I had laughed at something he said in a hallway near the water fountain, and that had been enough to start the whole thing. We had Cassie 2 years after the wedding. She came into the world in February, 6 days late, during a snowstorm that closed half the roads in Columbus, and Robert held my hand through 11 hours of labor without complaining once. I remember thinking, this is the man, this is who I picked. For a long time I wasn't wrong. The marriage didn't end dramatically. That's the thing about 19 years. The dramatic version would almost be easier to explain. What actually happened was slower. A gradual cooling. The way a room gets cold, not because someone opens a window, but because the heat just quietly stops working, and you don't notice until you're already shivering. Robert met Pamela at his firm's annual conference 4 years before Cassie's wedding. I found out about her the way most people find out about these things. Not in a single moment of revelation, but in pieces. A receipt, a tone in his voice there. The particular way someone starts coming home tired in a different way than they used to. When he finally told me Cassie was 22 and finishing her last year of college, I sat at our kitchen table and listened to him explain with the careful, rehearsed calm of someone who had been practicing in his car for weeks that he'd fallen in love with someone else, that he was sorry, that he hoped he could handle this maturely for Cassie's sake. I said, okay. I don't know why I said okay. I think I was in shock. I think 19 years of absorbing things had trained me to say okay as a first response to almost anything. The divorce took 14 months and cost me things I won't list here because the list would take longer than the divorce did. What I will say is that I showed up to every mediation session on time. I kept my voice level. I agreed to a settlement that my attorney told me was too generous to Robert, but that I accepted anyway because I was so tired by then of fighting over things that no longer meant what they once had. I moved into a smaller house on Waverly Street in the same neighborhood, close enough to Cassie that she could still come for dinner on Sundays, which she did every week without fail for 2 years. She loved her father. I never tried to change that. Full story on YouTube below.